Let's talk a little bit about the Republicans, though, because, the real, I think the big change here has been that Republicans in Congress and conservative America have never been more standoffish against corporations who previously, not like they were like cozy with, but there was like a tacit sort of agreement that like the boardroom Republican was a thing, that they brought jobs, and that they mostly were invested in what you might call like Americana and American values. That's not the case anymore. Hannah, do you buy the Republican turn against corporate America? We talked a little bit about Ted Cruz and the populists. Where are you at on that?
Well, I think they too are having an instinctual moment. I think that you're seeing a lot of feelings wrapped up right now, and I think that they mean it for now. I don't think it's going to be a long-term arrangement. Ultimately, they've created a system where they need each other too much, and I think that it's not a principled stance. A principled stance would have been corporate welfare, cronyism is wrong. It's antithetical to capitalism, and we're not going to participate in this. It would say, we don't think corporations should have more influence over public policy and over the laws that govern Americans than the average American citizen does, and we're not going to take their dollars. That didn't happen. That's not why they're doing this. They're doing this as a very reactionary, punitive measure. They're mad about a couple key events that have happened. They're responding. They're getting a little boost right now from doing so from their voters that I think will also dissipate over time. And I think when it does, their politics will shift right back.
Georgia is sort of case in point over how this has panned out. The Republicans down in Georgia moved in response to Delta criticizing their voter laws to strip them of their fuel subsidy. Yeah. That is wild. All right. Like I understand the idea of like punishing a company for stepping out of its bounds, but why did they have the fuel subsidy in the first place is my question. Why were they getting the tax break in the first place? So that they just like went along with the will of the legislature. Like these are two warring kingdoms, and you only see that there is something wrong and toxic about their relationship when one actually tries to get involved in the culture war against the other's will. And they didn't end up passing it. It just passed the House, and then it died in the Senate. And you just have to wonder, like, I just don't know if I really take these criticisms too seriously. They're just going to go back to the status quo here after they get their tantrum out of their system.
Yeah, and like with Ted Cruz's op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, that blew my mind. It's the Georgia example is really apt because it's saying the quiet part out loud. It's like, you don't get special benefits from us anymore because you're now being mean to us. Like, what? That's government. That's super authoritarian. They shouldn't have been getting that special stuff in the first place. And the Georgia stuff I didn't love, of course, because Delta shouldn't have had the special stuff to begin with and whatever. But reading Cruz's op-ed, he was like shouting the quiet part out loud. He's like,
yeah, he said your money is no good here anymore.
Yeah, like, so it was good. It was good until now. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, because like Hannah, in particular, like in conservative and libertarian circles, like we've been staunch defenders as a matter of principle of like Citizens United. The idea that corporations, they essentially are people and they have money, they have interests, and they should be able to spend them the way that they see fit for political causes. That's like a matter of principle that we accept. But then when you say your money is no good here anymore, you are admitting that like you change and move your political positions and policies based on whether or not they play ball with you on other stuff. The culture war, the all-important war for Republicans.
Yeah, it was stunning to see it in black and white. We know this. We work internally in the political sector. We know how these things go down and how it works. But still, just seeing it so boldly written just blew my mind. It was like, wow, you really are just saying the quiet part out loud. Again, it is stunning to me. But I think it's actually maybe a good thing for some Americans to see it, because I don't think the average American really understands just how intricately these two entities are linked, how much control they have over the system, and how little you as an individual, your vote, your voice matters. If I call my congressman in D.C. or my senator in D.C., they don't really care what I have to say. Let's be really, really honest. I maybe actually I don't, because I don't like my current representatives, but maybe I get stocks here or something. I don't matter as much as somebody who's giving them thousands of dollars in donations and PAC money that they have to obtain if they want to get reelected. And there's an excellent documentary, I think, on HBO called The Swamp that a friend of mine actually produced that really digs into the money in the politics and how much it takes to stay in office, and even how much it takes once you're in office to get committee appointments and to actually have any sort of say in the process whatsoever. It's very, very expensive. And so both sides, they are in a rat's race. They have to keep raising that money. And ultimately, until something changes in our laws and in our system, I don't see that reversing. And this is just really an offshoot of it, where they're going to get more and more petty. I think that the politicians are going to get more and more tyrannical and thinking that they are obliged certain stances, or even, buying the company's silence for certain policies as long as they're in these arrangements. So it will be interesting to see how many people actually quit taking their money. I think that would be a good thing,
and it doesn't
ultimately,
make a difference. I mean, like the candidates that bring in the most money are not necessarily the candidates who win races these days. I mean, like, how many times now have you seen a headline about like the mainstream sort of establishment candidates? They're making bank on bringing in tons and tons of dollars. They're bringing in the corporate donations. But then, like Bernie Sanders, like still sweeps in. Donald Trump, not as much money as Hillary Clinton, still like sweeps in and manages to undermine them because, at the end of the day, everybody has one vote, one person, one vote. And money, I just think it's losing its power over Washington. And that's great. I'm happy to see it. And, everybody, you're hearing this on May 6th is when we drop this episode, but we're taping it on May 4th. So May the 4th be with you. So like just a quick Star Wars sidebar. It's like liberals used to really understand this. Like the whole message of the Star Wars prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3 was George Lucas railing against corporatism in American politics. Like there was this sort of idea that even in the Galactic Senate in Star Wars, that companies had seats in the Senate. The Trade Federation, the banking clan, they had votes just like worlds with actual citizens, which is crazy. But in a sense, like that was his commentary on how DC works. And it goes back to the NASCAR bumper sticker suits, that everybody is actually listening to lobbyists and not listening to their constituents. When I was younger, I didn't really believe that. I do now. And I think libertarianism is what helped me realize that is true.